Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King. Joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hello. Welcome. We're here. We have many questions. But, Ian, you wanted to address something before we got started.
I do, because, Kyle, I'm angry. I am nigh upon furious, and this needs to be addressed right here, right now. We've touched on this in the past.
Yes.
I hate that we have to bring it up again, but here we are. So, over the course of the show, we've received numerous questions about shipping. Some of it's sincere, some of it's silly, some of it's speculative, some of it's weird. Just weird. No defending it, it's weird.
True.
Not gonna lie, I feel like the joke has run its course and has a long time ago. But some folks still enjoy, let's take Ian out of his comfort level. So they ask the questions, we answer them, it's part of the performance. So it goes. But at no point does that warrant violent, nasty reprisal from anyone. Okay? Now, we have all sorts of folks listening to the show and asking questions. Some of them are younger folks who have not quite yet learned how to protect themselves online. And to you folks, let me say, number one, you have to be careful, because while the Sonic fandom is a passionate and wonderfully creative space, there are people who express that passion in all the wrong ways. Do not trust files or links from people you do not know, and be cautious when engaging with people you have not engaged with in the past. And if someone comes at you through DMs or tweets or whatever, with hostile or violent imagery or threats or whatever, block them. They are not worth reasoning with. You don't need to understand where they're coming from. They are mad about cartoons. That invalidates their position immediately. And I know it is incredibly hard to walk away from it. People being mean for the sake of being mean gets under your skin. It is very hard to let it go. I completely get that. Trust me. It's been 20 years. I get it. Longer, really.
Yeah.
It's something that comes with time, but you do not need to carry that baggage. Let it go. Shut them out, because they have not won anything. What they have lost is your respect and your attention. For the folks who have harassed people in the past for what they've asked on this show, and as recently as this month have driven people offline with just horrendous stuff, you specifically are a bad person. You bring this fandom down. I don't want your explanation. I don't want your apology, because you're not hurting me. You're just making me angry. You're hurting someone else over cartoons. And if your ship, if your OTP is that one bright spot in your life, I'm happy you found it. I'm happy that it brings you joy, and I will not begrudge you that. But you do not have the right to use that to burn someone else. If you cannot separate yourself from the real world and two characters making googly eyes at each other in your own head, do not listen to my show. Do not give me your views. Do not give me your engagement. Do not give me your revenue. I do not want you engaging with the BumbleKast. And leave others alone. I didn't raise you like that, and Sonic certainly didn't raise you like that. Now go to your room.
Okay, Dad. I'm sorry. I know you said not to apologize, but I'm sorry. I mean, I agree. I am very angry too. Just the horrendous things that have transpired. Just it's frustrating. It's not what we want from the show. It's not what we're about. And if you participated in that and you listen to this show, we don't want you here. We don't want you around. We don't want to see you. We don't want to interact with you. So, that being said, are we ready to answer some questions, Ian?
Yes, please. Let us get to the folks that we do want to interact with. Our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
Yes. Thank you to them. Let's start off with this one from Allison S. Which characters in IDW have the best sleep schedule and which have the worst?
I imagine Knuckles is good. Just out in the wild, that circadian rhythm naturally there. He's good. Cream does. Vanilla makes sure that she has a healthy schedule. Most days, Amy, I would say so. If she gets zeroed in on a project or something, maybe she'll skip the sleep that she needs, but catch up on naps. Sonic, I figure it's probably not healthy, but that's just how he do. He is always on unless he's off. And if he's off, he's very off. But then he's back on again.
Yeah, he just keels over out of nowhere. All of a sudden he's asleep. Or Tails is talking to him, and all of a sudden,
and Tails, he pulls all-nighters all the darn time. Boy needs to go to bed.
That's all he does, yep. He is a night owl, which is weird because he's a fox, but, I'm sure Lanolin just does not sleep.
Are you kidding? She's got it down to the hour.
Really? Oh.
She doesn't have to set an alarm. She goes to bed at exactly this time and wakes up exactly when she means to, and she is right on schedule.
I am surprised. I figured she would just be, constantly, just in a rage.
No. Once she's awake, then she can be tired because of what she has to do, but then she gets fully rested.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Plus, with that much fluff on her head, are you kidding? She has the perfect pillow wherever she goes.
I guess that's true. Lucky her. Wow. Yeah. Tangle's probably on all the time, though. She has a problem.
She's the same as Sonic.
Yeah.
She's swinging from lampposts 1 second, then hanging from the next one, just sleeping upside down like a bat.
Yeah. 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 Our next question is from Andrew D. He stated recently that Iblis is still sealed inside a Blaze. Since the events of Sonic 06 were rewritten to never having happened, wouldn't that mean that Blaze never sealed Iblis inside herself? I know there's timey-wimey wibbly-wobbly, but this seems a bit more clear-cut unless the official stance is that Iblis is still inside her, which begs the question of how? How, Ian? How? Make it make sense!
I feel like any explanation I make at this point is only going to make things more confusing. Which I understand. I get it.
Yeah.
So it's better at this juncture to just say timey-wimey wibbly-wobbly.
Yes, it's all a bunch of nonsense. But I mean, if
maybe there will come a time where we can properly unpackage it. But right now, for the sake of this show, timey-wimey wibbly-wobbly. Just go with that.
Yeah, I figure it's more like the events of 06 never happened, but they never happened because Blaze sealed Iblis inside of herself. But that's just weird. That I don't know if that makes sense to anybody else. It's weird. It's a paradox. Ben R has a question. Which of the IDW cast do you think you'd be the bestest of best friends with? What would their dynamic look like?
Jewel. Low key, she can help make plans and I don't have to think about it. And nothing too exciting, usually more academic.
Yeah.
Just hang out. Yeah, we'd be good. We'd be fine. We'd get along great.
Yeah. Most of the cast is too adventurous for me.
Yeah. They're lovely people, to be sure. But
yeah.
Sonic, it's 4 a.m. I don't want to go for a run.
I don't
We
have
just finished a run. I don't want to go for another run.
I don't have the energy to deal with these people. Maybe
Tails, that sounds really cool, but you're talking way above my technical level, buddy.
You know what? I'd hang out with Big. Big is...
Well, Big's friend to everyone.
Yes.
He's like Gamera. He's friend to all the children.
Yes, including the rocket arms. And the spinning.
There's the thumbnail for this episode. Gamera Big, spinning around like a Roman candle.
Yes. Gamera also slices monsters in half. Big can do that.
Oh, easy peasy.
Oh, absolutely. I would hang out with Big. Big is friend to all children and adults and anyone who wants to go fishing. And believe me, all I want to do is go fishing or sleep. Bring Back the Freedom Fighters asks, okay, Ian, Sonic/Aliens crossover. What happens? Who gets face hugged, chest bursted, and whose powers do the Xenomorphs get from Toast? And who goes super to save the day?
This is hard because I don't really want to wish the Xenomorph upon anybody. That's a bad way to go.
Uh-huh.
Which stage of the Xenomorph? All of them.
Any and all, yeah.
Although I now have this mental image of Amy scooping up Cream into her arms, wielding the hammer and staring down the queen, saying, "Get away from her, you bitch."
I was thinking the exact same thing. Oh,
no.
man.
I hate to rob the moment from Amy, but it should go to Blaze because she is the flamethrower.
Okay. Yeah. I do. Yeah, I agree with you there. Okay.
It's both of them. They're both rescuing.
It could be either. It can be either way. It can go either way. But, oh, man, that's such a good one.
Yo, maybe that's it. We get away from folks being face hugged because the little crawlers get into like a chow garden and they infect the eggs themselves. So you have like perfect chaos-esque xenomorphs.
Oh, no. Oh. Eggman Yutani. No. No. How could you do that? Oh, man. Face hugs to Starline. Ah. It's a little obvious. But
You worry for Big for a half second because it does get up there and latch on his face, but then he just kind of slurps it down and crunches it like crab. That's a little spicy. It's full of acid, Big. Yeah, my tummy feels rumbly.
Oh, Alien versus Predator and Knuckles.
What do you think, Knuckles? If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah.
This would totally be stealing a scene from Superman versus Aliens, but Shadow gets face hugged and then he just spits the xenomorph out.
I don't know if I realized that was a thing.
It's actually it's been a long time.
Aliens. Wow.
It's been a long time since I read it, but it's a really solid read from what I remember. And yeah, Soups gets face hugged at one point and the xenomorph starts to form in him and he manages to just spit it out in the void of space. Like, dude, that is hardcore.
Wow. Shadow's just taking him, shooting him, obviously. Just constantly.
Well, that too, yeah.
That's sure. Shadow's kind of used to shooting aliens.
Come on, Omega. We're going on a bug hunt. Game over, man. Game over.
It's just Shadow the Hedgehog, too. It's true.
There you
go. Oh, man. Well, you know what? They'll let aliens cross over with anything, so why not? Let's do aliens. Sonic versus aliens. Come on, Ian. Make it happen.
That would be a tricky one. I don't know.
Sega's also has history with the Aliens franchise, to be fair. Maybe not a great history, but, you know. Oh, well. It's amazing. Butter Noodles has a question. Upon the destruction of his planet, baby Kal-El is sent by his parents to find a new home at a faraway planet. Oh, speaking of Superman. This planet being Sonic's Earth. Kal-El ends up being founded by a Nermi, or Mobian, husband and wife. How does the story of Superman change in the Sonic universe?
It's totally the train conductor and his wife from Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
They find him. They raise him super wholesome.
Yes.
And then he's Superman.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
I mean, see, my interpretation of Superman is that there is a little bit of nature versus nurture, but that he was always a good person.
Yes.
And that he was raised to be a good person. And doesn't matter that he's a Kryptonian or Earthling or Sonic Worldian or whatever. He's the best of us. He is someone with immense power who uses it for the benefit of others for no other reason than it's the right thing to do.
That makes sense.
Maybe he doesn't have an S on his chest. Maybe it's just the Chaos Emerald print, but you know, otherwise it's Superman.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a branch of the Daily Planet in Empire City. Who knows?
There you go.
And then he has his epic crossover movie with Sonic Man. Hey, do you bleed?
Why did you say that name? Damn it. It would be more like if Superman said Maria. Maria. Here's a question from Chaos Sonic 1. A while ago, you made a joke at Omega cursing Asimov, and that does beg the question. Would Eggman put the 3 laws of robotics into his creations, especially Omega? Personally, I don't think so, since it is Eggman, and he's one of the worst.
Yeah, I mean, the first one is do no harm, and we can clearly see that ain't in the program.
Harm? Yeah, that's pretty much all he does. That's his whole life, his whole existence.
The 3 laws of robotics? Whose laws? Not mine.
All I do is break the law. Here's a question from Comic the Hedgehog. In real life, hedgehogs can develop a condition called balloon syndrome, where their bodies actually inflate and swell up like balloons. The poor little things get so big and round they can't curl up. If this happened to our 4 fictional hedgehogs, how would they handle it?
They'd roll around at the speed of sound. Can't reach with their feet, gonna go straight on downhill.
This is like Mario World. This is an Adventures of episode. It's not even a Boom episode.
No, yeah, Adventures of. Yep.
How would they?
Silver has TK powers. He can fly around anyway. He's fine.
Yeah. Are they floating? Are they able to float around?
I mean, he could. Shadow would just have to rely on contour control.
This is going to awaken something in somebody.
Yeah, well, it's the internet, so it goes.
Don't listen to this show. It's bad for you. Danomancy has a question. The Starline's isekai adventures continue. Starline wakes up in a product warehouse where he comes across shelves of the new Starline plush. Then the Starline plushes all start talking to him, sharing their knowledge of Starline's previous isekai adventures. How does Starline react?
Oh, Lord, I've wound up in a Twilight Zone episode.
Oh, no.
I figure he would be overwhelmed at first because they're not going to stop. They're all going to speak at once because they all have to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually it begins to filter through and he starts to process it and realize the absolute hubris of his endeavors and the clear evidence of where he has gone wrong and thinks maybe now is the time to course correct. Maybe now with this insight from all these other hymns, he can get his life in the right order and maybe with a little bit more humility. And that's when the whole crate wall worth of product falls straight on top of him and the isekai adventures continue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he does like the sound of his own voice, though, so you think he would enjoy it.
Would he, or does he not like it because he's telling himself what to do?
That's
conundrum.
That's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah. All right, E2 under Paragon has a question. In Sonic 4 Episode 2, it's established that Eggman transformed Little Planet into a Dyson sphere known as the Death Egg Mark II. Not to be confused with the Death Egg 2 from Sonic the Fighters. But since Episode 3 never got made, the story leaves behind an interesting plot hole in that Sonic failed to free Little Planet from the station as it disappeared into the darkness of space. Thus my question is this, given that this is Little Planet's canon fate until Sega says otherwise, how would you write a story for IDW where Sonic canonically resolves the plot of Sonic 4?
Also not to be confused with the second Death Egg in Sonic Forces.
There's so many second Death Eggs.
I know, almost a half dozen. This I'm actually going to abstain from because this is a story I really want to tell. There are multiple avenues to approach it. I don't know when or where or how it will be done, but this one I do have a plan for. It's a malleable plan, but it is a plan. This is something I want to do. So that would kind of be spoilery if it ever came to be. So that one I'm keeping in my back pocket. Sorry, but you are right. It is a lingering plot point and I want it resolved.
Yeah. I'm also being told there's a Death Egg in Sonic Battle. I don't know what that means.
I don't remember if it was called Death Egg specifically. It was an orbital station with a doomsday device on it. So, I mean, at that point, it's basically Death Egg. But I don't know if it was specifically called Death Egg. I'd have to double check.
Apparently it was. From what I'm being told.
Well,
yeah.
Add it to the pile.
Yeah. The Space Colony Arc is an honorary Death Egg, so I guess there's 5 there.
And that's Gerald's thing. That predates Eggman.
It does, yes, but it's of
Like
the same.
Inspirational, but it's not the same. It's not. It's
Not the same, but it can be. It's in the same class. It's like it exists.
Well, then you would also have to count that weird like Eggman satellite in advance too, and that I feel like it's not like a death egg because it's just Eggman shaped. A death egg has to be like spherical with the face imposed upon it. It has to look like a Death Star to be a death egg. We have too many death eggs in this basket.
We really do. There's so many death eggs.
And I'm now terrified of the cosmic Easter bunny that leaves these around.
It's Eggman. Please don't put Eggman in bunny ears.
Hippity hoppity, and here comes Doomsday.
Easter Eggman. But Energy has a question. Originally, Sonic's quote-unquote fear of water started out as just an inability to swim, but per, I believe, Sonic X, it was upgraded to a fear of water in general. I've always felt it would make more sense for Sonic's fear of the ocean to be more of orcas given the chase in Sonic Adventure, and I guess Count 06 too, even though those events didn't happen, but it's funnier to consider that canon. If you were to explain Sonic's fear of water, what would you say? Would you keep it as a necessary fear of water, or do you want to try and bring it back to just an inability to swim more than a straight-up fear?
As far as Sonic X goes, from what I remember, it was more of a fear of, like, deep water, because he couldn't swim. Like, the only time I can remember him freaking out over water was, like, episode 3 or something, where he's fighting Knuckles, and he falls in a puddle, and he's like, oh, God, I'm gonna drown! Knuckles is like, it's shallow, stupid. He's like, oh, yeah. And then he's over it. So I don't know if it was really a water thing in Sonic X per se. It's been a while. I haven't seen, maybe a difference between translations. I don't remember exactly. Right now, his current state is he just doesn't like it. It's not like an actual phobia. It's just he doesn't like water because he can't swim, which makes sense. And I feel like that's a good balance to have. He has a weakness, and it's water, and, just don't like it. So he runs across it.
Well, there you go.
And if it had to be a fear, like an actual, like, debilitating fear of something, then that would be the cause of it, is because he loses what makes him him. He can't outrun the water. When he's fully submerged, his speed is robbed from him, and his agility is robbed from him, and also drowning is a thing. So he's completely out of his element, and he's not comfortable with that. Which, again, makes enough sense.
Yeah. I doubt Sonic's afraid of orcas. I don't know why they're chasing after him, but he's not afraid of them.
No, it's just fun for him.
Yeah, he just runs away from him. All right, Flora Latour has a question. You said you wanted Surge and Kit to remain as villains and not receive a redemption arc several times on the show. If that's the case, why did you give the two sympathetic backstories and make them victims of Starline's brainwashing? If they were meant to be pure villains the audience is meant to hate, they shouldn't have this tragic origin story.
I disagree.
Every villain always has a tragic origin story. It's kind of their thing.
I mean, the circumstances of the creation highlights what a monster Starline is.
Yeah.
And their refusal to let go of that pain or address it or deal with it in any kind of constructive way is, part of their selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
And we understand where it's coming from, which makes it compelling. But just because you're dealt a bad hand doesn't mean you deal bad hands to others. So just because someone has a sympathetic backstory does not mean that they are forgivable or good people. It just means they have a sympathetic backstory.
Yeah. Yep. GeoKnuckles has a question. Sonic Prime cross Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Which of Sonic's friends team up or interact with the Rangers?
Let's see.
Color coded.
No.
Don't.
Zach
I was going to
does
say
not get paired with Shadow. Come on.
I was going to say, do not color code them. That's what I meant. Do not go with the color coding. That's lazy.
I mean, Jason and Knuckles, absolutely not.
No.
I think they'd get into it. They want the costumes. They want to do the poses. They want to do everything except for actually, fight.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, we actually work now? I thought we were just having fun. They try to get the Zords to combine together, and they're just like clanking into each other like toys thrown down the stairs.
Which is ironic.
Tails, you're the smart one. What lever do I pull? I don't know. I just figured out how to drive these things. They finally get the Megazord assembled, and they're like, wait, where's Styx? And she's like crawling around the vent.
Oh, yeah. Of course Styx is there. Why not? We need chaos. We need chaos. Styx is living inside your Megazord. Oh, no.
Eggman's all excited because, ooh, giant robot. I need to fight one with one of my own.
Yeah.
Oh, Bod, where did I put my giant mecha? I want to fight. Hanging number 3, boss.
Oh, no.
Like, that's his subplot, is he's just hurrying as fast as he can to have his cool giant mecha fight.
Is the plot that Eggman is trying to find a mom for Sage and he runs into Rita?
Oh, God.
No. No. Oh, man. This does sound like a Power
honey,
Rangers.
You've seen Daddy's dating profile. He doesn't have a lot of options. Try harder, father.
Oh, no. And then Zed is there. Oh, no.
Rita's really hard up for any kind of peril, so she just makes Vector super big. And he's stumbling around the island. I'm really sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on. Oh, hey, a giant robot.
Yes. No, it's a regular size robot to him.
How big are we making Vector?
I don't know. You wanted to make him super big, and that would be big, as big as the robots.
Meanwhile, the main teens are just hanging out in Medburger. Like, they get a day off. This is kind of fun. The food's not great, but, you know, the weather's nice.
Yeah. Oh, well.
They're hanging out. They're helping citizens with their, daily chores or whatever their, personal issues are. And they're just such fine, upstanding young people. Why can't those other 5 be more like you? And so finally you have the Megazord that is mostly assembled.
Yeah.
Manages to knock the big magic out of Vector, and they all come crashing down on the coastline. And the Rangers are like, okay, that's enough. We're taking the keys back. Give us back the morphers. Aw, give us back the morphers. Knuckles is scrambling, snatching up each one just to do it one more time. Saber-tooth tiger, Tyrannosaurus, come on, transform, please, please. They all warp back to Earth right as Eggman comes running out in his own giant mecha. I'm ready! Oh, shoot.
Darn. They ran away. Aw. Silliness.
Sorry,
Silliness.
Eggman, we're tired. We can't fight your giant mecha right now. No, it's okay. Can I crash at your place? My new ex just took over the base.
Not the first time Vector's been gigantized, apparently. Happened in the Sonic X
I already
comic.
used that joke. I already used that joke, but hey, why not?
Okay, you did. Okay.
He's the closest thing we got to a kaiju-looking guy.
Yeah, you know. He's a big lizard. Make my detective grow. All right, let's move on to a question here from Gideon W. Hypothetically, the pair of you end up in a 2-headed ogre-style body. How would you both prefer to split the control? Left side versus right side, or one of you gets the legs and the other the arms? Which side do you call dibs on?
Well, I mean, going by the title card of the episode, I guess I have to be the right head.
Maybe? Well, yeah, I guess.
Usually how we're arranged.
Stage, yeah, I guess based on stage, yeah. Stage left versus stage right, yeah. I mean, I'm left-handed, so it kind of makes sense that I would be predominantly left-sided. I don't know.
And I'm right-handed, so that makes enough sense. But Kyle, we would have to coordinate to walk, and that's not going to happen.
I can't. I mean, you know that I have trouble walking.
Yeah,
Establish that.
We wouldn't walk anywhere. We'd be just kind of like rolling in a general direction. Kyle, roll this way.
Whatever you want to do, man. I'm not stopping you. Oh, man.
Quite literally, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing.
Quite literally, yes, it's true. It's QWOP. It's truly, we are QWOP. Real life QWOP.
Welcome to the BumbleKast. We're QWOP. Welcome to the Bumble Quap.
Oh boy. Terrifying.
I still need to type, so I got to take the hands, man. You can tell me what to do to set up the show and whatnot. I'll follow direction, but I got to take the hands. I need my hands.
That's good. I can take a nap while you're doing that. It's fine.
All right, fine.
Not a big deal. All right. Giratina has a question. Dearest Bumble Kings, hypothetically, what Archie moment would you love to hear the Sad AM cast act out if there was ever a reunion?
Oh, it's cheating to say the entire run, isn't
it? Good luck.
Oh, gosh, that's a hard one.
That really is. Also, I'm not a Bumble King. I don't know why I'm being addressed as a Bumble King. There's only one Bumble King.
I shall anoint you as a Bumble Duke.
Duke.
Or Count. Maybe Bumble Count so we can keep the alliteration. Anyway. Oh, God. Because some of the more standout individual moments don't have the whole cast there. Like, Thicker Than Water would be great, but that's only Sonic and Bunny.
Yeah.
You know? I want the whole cast there.
Champions?
Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah, that's most of the cast, wouldn't it be? In some form, shape, or form?
For the most part.
Plus extras. I think that would be the best, personally.
Maybe the whole, like, Eggman Empire arc, but with, you know, Eggman, the wedding and Eggman's invasion and then the escape. Because everybody freaking out when Sonic's like, yeah, go ahead, shoot us with your teleport beam again. And they're like, what are you doing? And then they're safe at home. That would be, it'd be satisfying.
Oh, the good stuff. Oh, man.
Any point of Rotor confronting Tundra.
Oh, wow.
See, that's the thing, is like, I'm proud of the work there. You know, I did the best I could. I think it stands up pretty well. But having the cast come back to read it all would elevate it so much more. And what dynamics would they bring to it? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Like Rob Paulson being able to do the Antoine voice, but put that serious spin on it. You can almost hear Jaleel White saying, limit. I got your limit right here. Oh, my God, dude.
Yes. Oh, there's so many options. There's so many things you could do.
I can't pick. I'm going to say the whole run.
Yep. All right. And we're going to take a quick break after this one from Hearts 13. Every 90s and 21st century animated TV series, both American and Japanese, the OVA counts, all comic series, both preboot and reboot for Archie, and also the mangas, the original video games and spin-off games, and the movies of the Sonic franchise have non-canon IPRs of those worlds, and those realities are the questions and answers of the BumbleKast, to keep the made-up scenarios becoming part of the original versions of those worlds. What do you think of this little headcanon, and do you think it kind of makes sense?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm sorry, I have lost the thread.
IPRs. I'm not 100% sure what that means. It sounds like...
I think it refers to intellectual properties, but...
Maybe? Intellectual property rights? Or is it something to do with realities? Alternate realities. But maybe that's it.
But like, okay, let's dissect this, because this is like a block paragraph. So all Sonic media, that's what they're saying. All Sonic media, have non-canon IPs, I guess, in the context of their own worlds, which I don't follow. What does that mean for all these other things to have non-canon stuff within them? And those realities are the questions and answers of the BumbleKast. So all the other Sonic media realities are the questions and answers, or the non-canon IPs within them are. My tiny bumble brain cannot dissect them. I do not know what you're asking for here. I am sorry.
We are well below your level. Well below your level, sir. Help us out.
But if this is your headcanon and that makes you happy, then sure. I will not invalidate it. Run with it.
Yeah. If that's the way you want to sort of justify and believe that maybe all the questions on the BumbleKast are real in some fashion, then hey, great, fantastic. Anyway, speaking of fantastic, let's take a fantastic break.
Yeah, this has been a endurance race of an episode, hasn't it?
Indeed it has.
We're back, and we have our weekly giveaway question. The folks who follow us on our Twitter, our Tumblr, our Blue Sky, our Facebook, and our Instagram every so often get a chance to have their question answered on the show. This week's winner is...
From Twitter. This is from Malachi WS. There's something I noticed about pre-boot Archie, especially with Ray's character and him having a stutter. As someone with a stutter, I thought that was a pretty cool idea that I wish continued. So, Ian, seeing as you were part of the transition to post-reboot Archie, do you have any insight as to why that little detail of Ray's character was not continued into the rest of Archie and IDW, where he would have any speaking parts? And if Sega were to let you, would you bring back Ray's stutter?
From what I recall, it was a legal concern, because the writer who introduced that concept would have tried to lay claim to it, and that was just a fight not worth having. Also, in terms of printing comics or, printing anything written, stutters take up a lot of page real estate. So managing how much of the stutter is there and how much it affects the pacing of the individual panels is a consideration to have. That's one of the reasons. Another reason was just to make him a little different after the reboot, to make it a little clearly distinct. This is the new direction of the series, and it was an easier path to take because of those previous concerns. If Sega decided that they wanted that to be a feature of the character, absolutely, add it back in. Not a problem with it. But the circumstances preceding the decision are what affected it.
All right. I have a question to add into here. Alrighty. Here's a question from DDR Master M. Encore body swap, this one between the leaders of rival organizations, Eggman and Jewel. What exasperating events follow?
Well, the Eggman Empire becomes one of the most well-run and organized things you've ever seen. It's all been 100% devoted to cleanup and restoration and ecological mindful directions, but Eggman comes back to a almost unrecognizably well-organized society. Or system, I should say. Not really a society with mindless robots. Jewel, meanwhile, is going to have a lot of work to do when she gets back, because the restoration has been turned into a quasi-paramilitary operation with shock units sent across the world, but they aren't really backed up by anything. He's never really had to think about supply lines. His troops don't need food. And strangely, nobody was showing up when they were ordered to, what with their forced robotization and whatnot. These robots, or these individuals who are not robots, lacking the hard-coded loyalty of robots, is completely inexplicable. See, this is why he's trying to take over the world. Bring some order to this business.
Yes.
Some loyalty, some obedience.
Sure. Go with that.
However, once they both get back, they both realize that their suits are immaculately kept. Like, their wardrobe is pristine.
Wow. Good to know. They both take pride in their appearance,
Tangle comments on, so what happened like last week? You stopped flying and you were actually walking in heels. I thought you flew most of the time because you couldn't walk in heels. And Jewel's like, I need to ask him how to do this. I must learn train. I must train with him.
Oh, no. Well, good to know that Eggman can walk in heels.
You've seen his boots. Those are not small heels on those boots.
True. It's a good point. Egg Bayonetta. All right, we got a question from Hero Squad. How do tails/creams, tails/ears work in Spin Dash?
Physics.
Yes, Ian. Physics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go
Sonic World physics.
I'm gonna go with magic.
There's no magic. It must be physics.
I think Sega's wrong. There is magic. Sega's wrong. They're not going to convince me otherwise.
I will say, though, first time playing Advance 2 and doing the Spin Dash's cream and the ears pop out, I geeked out entirely too hard. It's like the tails. That's great.
Yeah.
Does it make any sense? No, I don't care. I love it.
Nothing needs to make sense. They're cartoon silly animals. Whatever, man. Whatever. And we got a question here from JCR1216. What would be Silver's Joker moment?
He would never have one.
No.
The poor fella has lived through multiple apocalypse.
I guess that's one way of referring to multiple apocalypses.
Yes, multiple apocalypse, and he has come through it with greater determination to protect those who need protecting and to set things right. He is an indomitable spirit. He cannot be broken. He will never have his Joker moment.
No. He does not understand society. Although,
what you're trying to...
although he was quite upset about buffets.
He was, but he's strong enough willed that he can get through it.
Okay, I hope so.
So what you're trying to tell me is it's no use? It's not, and I'm tired of pretending that it is.
All right, Mexico17 has a question. How would Surge handle it if she found out her mom's still around and she was absolutely the most embarrassing mother ever?
She'd kind of wish that Starline had been a little thorougher in erasing her history. Like, add to the body count.
Yeah.
Nothing to follow up on, please.
Would Surge add to the body count?
See, we're going for the joke answer here, but
okay.
In all seriousness, it kind of depends on the greater context of it.
Oh.
Like if her mother was smothering in kind of a funny way, or if it was just, she means well, she just doesn't have a filter, and how much of it Surge feels unempowered by it. Is this, revelation about her past demeaning to who she is now? Does she want this back? And there's a few directions you could go with that. I don't want to settle on one particular one here. It could be poignant. It could be cathartic. It could be terrifying. You can go a number of routes with it.
All right. Night Fury Lover 31 has a question. Since they're both good friends with Blaze, what do you think it would be like if Silver and Marine met? What kind of antics would they get into?
Marine is the embodiment of intrusive thoughts won out.
Oh no, that's not what Silver needs in his life. He doesn't need that sort of influence.
Doesn't he, though?
Oh!
She would be like, I heard there's an adventure on that island over there. And he's like, let's go find out. And she's like, yes, let's go. And then they go off and they have adventures. And then Blaze kind of looks up all of a sudden. What was that sound? Gardon, why is that island sinking into the ocean? And then you have a very wet and very ashamed Marine and Silver getting a lecture by Blaze.
Silver does not have a Joker moment, but certainly Blaze does. Oh boy. And we got this one here from Reckons. So, how does the Sonic cast like spicy food? Sonic likes chili, Blaze has a cat's tongue, but how about the rest? What's Shadow's actual preference? Not just eating ghost peppers to look cool. Rouge, Silver, Knuckles, Tangle? Anyone else you care to name? Amy? I don't know why Amy was capitalized at the end there, but apparently I had to scream it.
Shadow, I would imagine he kind of just eats anything. It's not really to look cool or anything. It's just he can process it.
He's just weird.
He pops the ghost pepper because it just happens to be there. Maybe winces half a second, but just rolls with it. Rouge, I imagine, would like something that might be a little piquant. She likes something that can bite back, maybe, but nothing like grossly hot, like the hot one's hot sauce, the stuff that's built to hurt you for novelty's sake. She's not going to demean herself with that. It needs to be something that elevates the flavor. Otherwise, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Silver is quite tired of hot things. Thank you very much. Knuckles, I imagine he's fine with it. Like he's good with the extra chili sauce or ghost peppers or whatever. And if it hurts, then he just has to tough it up and get through it next time.
I'm imagining him as Idris Elba on Hot Ones breaking down. I know that's not what you said, but it's a lot funnier.
I'll accept that. That's perfectly good. I like it.
It's a lot funnier. He's like choking.
Tangle, I think, has a threshold that's not terribly high, but she'll still push the limit, suffer for it. But she can't handle anything too spicy. She's adventurous. She'll try. She will try all the bottles on hot ones, and she will be crying at the end. But she had a good time. And Amy, I don't think she really seeks out hot and spicy stuff. She prefers sweet and enjoyable. Maybe if there's like a little bit of heat to it because that's part of the dish, sure. But she's not going to go like hot sauce on everything. She prefers the mild chili.
Yeah, we know what Jules' preference is. She loves wings.
Yeah.
And let's see. Surge. Would Surge be the one to try and eat things to look cool but fail?
Absolutely. She's a goblin.
I guess that's true. Wow. Yeah.
Like she'd go on hot ones and bite through the bone and maintain eye contact just to assert dominance.
Oh, man.
He's like, that's a choking hazard, right? So am I.
Wow. Amazing. All right, let's move on to the next question here from Scurvy Pirate Dog. 9 from Sonic Prime travels the multiverse and ends up in the Boom universe. How does this encounter go? How does the BumbleKast react to this terrifying nightmare-fueled being they see before them? This horrible, awful abomination that is this version of Tails that wears pants!
No, the joke is they can't tell the difference. They have no idea.
You can't tell.
At most they think Tails is being a little moody. They don't really get the cosplay, but hey, he put some work into it, so good on you, buddy. And they're talking to him absolutely casually throughout the day, and when they see Boomtails, they're like, so why didn't you get the order from Medburger that I asked for? And he's like, what are you talking about? I hadn't seen you today. No, we actually talked about it, and you walked off in a huff. You were really rude. What? So Tails is getting gaslit the entire episode. No idea why everyone is acting like he's being weird. And 9 is incredibly frustrated because all of these rubes are just dancing around this tropical island. They have no idea of the impending disaster that he's come to stop. The shatter space is falling apart around them. You can literally see the hole in the sky that he's trying to fix. And they are like, oh, yeah, that's kind of neat. Is that like an aurora or something? No, you idiots. Hey, Tails, buddy, that's kind of a harsh bit of wordage you're doing there. It's not Tails, it's 9. 9 what?
Like 9 is going to murder them.
Styx is the only one who gets it, but she has to piece it together. That's the subplot of the episode. It's her going over each individual physical detail of 9 and comparing it to all the stalker photos she took of regular Tails as a hobby and deciding, wait, they're not the same. But right as she figures it out, 9 fixes shatter space and goes home, and everyone's completely oblivious. And Tails is just kind of taking the day to himself. Man, this is weird.
She stalks and takes pictures of all of her friends, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's just a normal thing. It's just what she does.
It's how she shows she cares. Okay. Not that she's going to show it to anybody. No one's going to get to that vault. But
no. They don't know.
It's the thought that counts.
Sure. I mean, she's got to make sure that they're still them, that they haven't secretly been swapped with some kind of government agent or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Always thinking 3 steps ahead.
Yep. Here's a question from Sonic Sword Fighter. Do the red lines on Shadow's body cover his hands and feet as well, or do they stop at his shoes? And in regards to his feet, since he's an artificial life form, does he have more human-like ones, or the blobs that regular normies have?
I don't know where the stripes end, and I would assume he has the animal people flipper feet, the chicken cutlets on their ankles.
He has hooves.
No, God, no.
I mean, honestly, the less we dwell on anyone's feet, the better.
Yeah, sure enough.
Let's get out of here. Let's get away from that. Spoiler 1001 has a question. If Jingling Keys distracted Bean in Archie Comics, would a laser pointer achieve something similar?
It would be the end of the world. It would initially have the same effect, but he would hunt it. He would track it down, and it keeps vanishing and reappearing, taunting him. Well, he won't let it get away this time as the bomb gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, Frieza style over his head.
Oh no, it's truly a spirit bomb.
Exactly. He hurls what he affectionately calls Kilimanjaro and just nukes an entire continent. Gotcha that time!
Oh,
and then as all the world's oceans pour into the core of the earth and dark Gaia slithers back up looking really groggy, he's like, perchance I've gone too far.
Really? You think he's gone too far? He'll think that for a second and then think like, oh well.
Oh no, that's when Surge turns on the laser pointer again at his feet. He's like, you!
I'm glad it's Surge. Oh boy. And we got one from Switchel. On a fundamental level, what makes a story good? I don't think it's safe to say a story being enjoyable is enough to make it good, because otherwise Tommy Wiseau's The Room would be considered an unironically good movie. But proper structure clearly isn't enough either. Plenty of stories follow all the rules of what makes a story good, but fail to hit the mark regardless. So what are your thoughts?
Art is subjective, and writing is art. And therefore, good writing is subjective. There is absolute tripe out there that people adore. And there's meticulously crafted, lovingly, meticulously made works of true literary masterpieces that go completely ignored.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because it resonates with different people. I try not to judge too harshly on whether or not something is good, because having been on the receiving end of so much feedback, I am either the absolute most hack detritus fool to ever besmirch the written page, or I'm an unparalleled genius, and then somewhere in the middle. So I can't judge, what some person is going to find as moving and insightful and even revolutionary. Others are going to find as droll. In the case of The Room, it ain't good. I don't think anyone is really arguing that it is. No, you know what? Take that back. I know there are people who will say, you don't understand its genius. They are out there. And you know what? It is for them. It's their perspective. And what they find in it isn't necessarily wrong from somebody else's perspective, which, really does beg the question, what is good? And I guess it really does come down to enjoyment, which is even more frustrating and terrifying, because then what do you do to make something good? And the best I can suggest is write what you enjoy, consume what you enjoy, be critical of it, see where you can improve the messaging or the methodology or whatever you're presenting. Don't rest on your laurels and say, oh, I'm happy with this, therefore it's flawless. That is a trap. Do not fall for that trap. Always look to improve. But at the same time, don't stress over it terribly, because The Room has become a phenomenon, a huge success. Not in the way that it wanted after the fact, but still, it has succeeded. And if it can, maybe yours can too.
Sure. I like what person in the chat said here, that the answer is to know your audience.
That is also a big factor.
That helps. That helps. Now, granted, I don't think Tommy Wiseau knew his audience, but he found one anyway.
He didn't initially, but he learned.
Yes.
Once he realized what a cult classic it was and how it was being received, he changed his tune and embraced it. And you know what? More power to you. Adapt.
Yeah. He tripped and fell into his audience. Yes.
But he got an audience, and that's what every performer really wants, is that audience.
Yes.
Honestly, years ago, I might have been more critical or more narrow in my view in answering this question. But as time has gone on, there's so many other bigger concerns in life.
Yeah.
That I feel like art is there for a variety of reasons, to express yourself, to escape reality for just a moment, to investigate topics and ideas that you can't directly. And so the list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So if something resonates with you, whether you're creating it or you're consuming it, or maybe both, then I think that gives it value.
Yeah.
And, how well it goes beyond your particular sphere of influence, that's a measure of success monetarily, maybe in terms of popularity. But, it's, I guess from my perspective, looking at Drogoon as that is, slowly inching its way to release, I want it to be liked. I want it to be well received. I want it to go on and give birth to so many other ideas and media and whatnot. And if it doesn't, well, phooey. But I still feel like we've created a solid book. And I will be happy if, 5 people really love it and it doesn't go beyond that. I want more for it, sure. But I'm happy with it. And if it finds a small audience, I'll be happy with that too. And if it balloons into something gigantic, I'll be happy with that as well. As long as it's doing something to entertain someone.
All right. And we got a question from Normal Person. DCAU, Lex Luthor, and Tangle have swapped bodies. How would this goof go about? Adding to this, Lex is currently in the Legion of Doom when the swap happens. Oh boy.
No, they're having their annual meeting and boop, now Lex is Tangle. And she's looking around, looking down at the meeting notes, looking around.
Trying to imagine Clancy Brown acting like Tangle.
She's like, so anyway, I think that's enough meeting for now. Who wants popsicles? And Grodd just very gently shoves him aside and says, I'll take it things from here, Lex. And then after the meeting, he's like, I'm psychic. I know you're not Lex. Who are you? And she's like, what are you talking about? Of course I'm Tex. So, notice there's not a lot of tails amongst you people. How do you get around?
Uh-oh.
Meanwhile, everyone is very concerned for Tangle because she's gotten real quiet and real observant. She's asking a lot of questions about this Eggman Empire thing and access codes and nearest base and security movements, and kind of worried for her. I mean, Landlin's really chuffed. Like, finally, she's taking her job seriously. But, everyone else is kind of like, this doesn't sound like being proactive. You okay, Tangle Boo Boo? What's on? What's going on?
Do not want.
Lex as Tangle single-handedly takes over an Eggman base and gets access to the Eggnet and is one step away from achieving what Eggman couldn't when the body thing swaps back around. And Tangle's like, okay. Looks around, sees all the robots, looks around, sees all the robots. Sees that she's got the command prompt in front of her. She types in popsicles.exe.
And then the world explodes.
Meanwhile, Lex is trapped within the brig of the Legion of Doom. He's not insane. He's back to his right mind. He doesn't know how it happened. He's normal. Let him out. And Grodd's like, oh, clearly he's lost his mind entirely. Looks like I'll have to take over leadership from now. Don't listen to the crazy bald man.
Oh, no, boy. Never listen to the crazy bald man. All right, Cyberspace Coco has a question. Amy drags Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Rouge, and Tangle to a play. The acting troupe performing in the play, it's the Emerald Island Players, the Sonic Universe version of the Ember Island Players. And they're putting on a show about the major events in their lives, starting from Sonic 1 all the way up to IDW Frontiers and Dream Team. For humor's sake, what are the actors like, and how do their performances differ from their actual personalities? How do Sonic and friends react? Does Tangle pull it off and absolutely love it? Is this Sonic Man's time to shine on stage?
Here's the thing. It's a one-man show.
It's all Sonic Man?
It's all Sonic Man, and he is swapping hats like crazy.
Sonic Man the musical.
And it's not a gimmick show. He's not playing this for laughs. He is seriously putting his full Shakespearean effort into this.
Oops, all Sonic Man.
That's the only real explanation for having something that goes from Sonic freaking 1 through 40 bloody titles, and I can't remember how many issues off the top of my head.
70-something.
Plus miniseries.
Yeah. Legendary Sonic Man. The legend. Oh, he can't even...
Amy's wrapped. Amy is 100% into this. Look at the conviction he has in this. And the way that he portrays her, so heroic and, always attentive. The struggle she had to find her inner voice and her courage to stand up for what she believes in. Oh, she loves this show. She's been here twice already. Sonic's entertained. He's just going through the hats so fast and all the voices changing and, stamina on this guy's pretty impressive. He'll watch it for novelty's sake. Tails is imploding. This is cringe. This is giga cringe. This is critical mass cringe. She can't stand it. Why are you all sitting here like this is normal? Please, can we go home? Knuckles isn't quite sure how the hats make his voice change. Like, he didn't think hats did that. The hat he has doesn't change his voice. Is it just those hats that does it?
Oh, I'm surprised Tails has such a low bar for cringe.
Well, it started at his very first scene, and he can't forgive it beyond that. Shadow thinks everything's on point. Like, he's got their personalities down pat, except for him.
Yeah.
Totally and Rouge has to, physically make him sit back down, because otherwise he's going to get on stage and play himself to show you how you do it right. Rouge thinks it's absolutely cringe as well, but she finds it hilarious. And the fact that Amy is eating it up is hilarious. And the fact that Tails is just curling into a tighter and tighter ball is hilarious. And the fact that Shadow wants to take the stage and play himself is just hysterical. No, she's having a grand time. And Tangle is on the edge of her seat waiting for her moment, waiting for when her scene comes on. Oh my God, it's going to be great. And then he does it. And she's like, yes, that's totally me. You go, Sonic me. I mean, Tangle man. I mean, you go.
Unfortunately, Sonic 06 had to get cut for time.
Which is too bad because that flailing inflatable tube arm man version of Iblis was really well constructed.
Yeah.
Granted, it's just the perfect Chaos one painted red, but hey.
We truly are all Sonic Man. All right. Here's a question from the Oddly Roger. During the time in pre-reboot RG that Sally was working to reconcile with Sonic, were there any off-screen moments where she tried to make him a nice dinner that resulted in steamed ham-style shenanigans? Add one to the counter.
Yeah. And now I'm envisioning steamed hams, but it's Sally as Skinner. Scrambling to make up for the chili dogs that she absolutely butchered. Not ruined, butchered.
Mm-hmm. Destroyed.
And Sonic knows exactly what's going on, but he is playing coy about the whole thing. So what's going on in the kitchen? Aurora Borealis? Aurora Borealis. This time of year, this part of the state, localized entirely in your kitchen. Yes. Can I see it? No. And as she's escorting Sonic out of the palace, Nicole leans out the window. Sally, the castle's on fire! No, it's not, honey!
It's just the Northern Lights. Yeah.
I know Steam Hams has been done to death, but just the idea of taking Chalmers' position and making it fully knowing and just trolling by playing dumb.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
It is really funny.
You call them steamed hams even though they're clearly hamburgers.
It's It's an Uptown Mobotropolis thing.
Really? Huh. Because I'm from Green Hill and I've never heard that before.
Oh no, not Green Hill.
Oh no,
More of an Emerald Hill thing.
Emerald Hill, yeah, sure.
Eh?
Okay.
Good old Sega Genesis Chalmers. Twilord has a question. So, Ian, with Doom's Eye shown in the Shadow Generations trailer, and spoiler alert for casting, by the way, Keanu Reeves voicing Shadow in the movies, Shadow has a question for you.
So I guess you have a choice. You want a war? Or do you want to just give me a gun?
Somebody, please get this man a gun.
Yes. All right. Wildcard717 has a question. How does Whisper react to Ian calling the Diamond Cutters plot fodder in the January 17th, 2024 episode of the BumbleKast?
Okay, so you know how in the animated Batman series, they do that close up his face and his eyes would narrow and you know that it's serious mode?
Yes.
It's that, but in reverse, where the eyes actually open up.
It's another thing to add, pile on top of Whisper's trauma. So you're saying you're dead, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. I don't get like 2 steps to the door.
Okay.
Doesn't even need to load a wisp. It just like hits me over the head with the wisp on. Just bam.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Here's a question from Zach D to end us off. All right, Mr. Flynn, let's round this. We know what Jewel and Tangle think of the Beatles, but what about Whisper and Lanolin? What do they think of the Beatles? Also, might as well ask, does Jewel prefer Mop Top Beatles, Sgt. Pepper Beatles, or 68 to 70s Beatles?
You are vastly overestimating how much I know about the Beatles. Like, I thought I did a pretty good job faking it till I made it with the last round of questions. Like, that sounds like I know enough to answer the question. Let's move on now. But no, you just had to come back around and say, hey, Ian, how about this wildly popular band that's become like almost a religion to some people? That's one of the most chronicled and well-known, that, you know, nothing was ever bigger than the Beatles. The band across multiple generations that have been referenced in countless forms of media over the years that defined a generation.
Yeah.
There were 4 of them. They had a yellow submarine.
Only once. Only that
Ringo
one.
sounds like Wacko out of Animaniacs. There was a Blue Meanie.
There was a 5th at one point.
Was there?
Well, they swapped one out.
Oh.
Yeah, he got replaced very early on.
Dude, you could tell me that the whole British thing was a long con that everybody fell for, and I would believe you. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Pete Best. Let's see. I know a little bit more than Ian about the Beatles. Probably not much more, honestly, but maybe a little bit.
I was hoping you would, because you're the music guy, but you're more like video game music guy.
I know other music than video game music. What do you take me for? I know a few things here and there. Let's see. Jewel might be into Sgt. Pepper era. Yeah, that's the Yellow Submarine stuff. Whisper is more a fan of late Beatles. Their era where they got into the really hard drugs and they found out what guitar distortion was. And Lanolin doesn't like them.
Really?
Or no, or maybe she just doesn't know them. Do you think, I don't know what Lanolin's opinion on music is.
Oh, she likes music. We can't make her a complete stick in the mud.
Okay.
Maybe that's the one thing that she is like hyper geeky about.
Maybe.
Like she's straight laced and very, even keel about everything else, but the Beatles, like maybe she's got perpetual Beatle fever, Beatlemania. What do they call it?
Beatlemania, yes. Not Beatle fever. It's a different thing. I guess she has a musical Wisp theme. God, I'm silly. I'm silly. Jeez. Silly me. My memory's awful. Man, maybe she does enjoy early Beatles. They're more wholesome era.
We'll go with that.
Sure, yeah.
Give her something nice.
Yeah, there we go. She thinks they got a little too, they went a little too off the rails later on, you know. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the BumbleKast.
Thank you to all our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members for supporting the show. Thank you for listening. And of course, be good to yourselves. Please be good to each other. And we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
See you next time. And we got one last question. All right, Mr. Flynn, let's round this.
Who's the question from?
Oh. Sorry. It's the end of the episode. Get a little bleh. But you should listen to the BumbleKast, and you should give us your money.
So you said that, but then you told them not to listen to you. So what are they supposed to do, Kyle? What are they supposed to do?
I don't know. They'll figure it out. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. Is this a hashtag knowing smile moment?
Yes, it absolutely is.
Okay. Is this something? Okay. I'm gonna ask you a series of questions, Ian, and you're probably not going to answer any of them.
Most likely.
Is it a property you've worked on before?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a property that's well known around internationally?
Yes.
Does it involve animal characters?
Sometimes.
Are any of those animal characters blue?
Sometimes.
Are any of those non-animal characters blue?
Sometimes.
Are any of them robots?
They might be. Depends on what gets approved.
Okay. Is it a comic?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that narrows it down slightly. Is it a comic adaptation of another media property?
No.
No, it's an originally a comic?
Partially. Sometimes. Can be.
Can be a comic. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know how much that's helpful. I don't know how much information that's going to be, but
it absolutely isn't, because you're thinking one direction and really
no,
it's kind of in a different, but I'm not going to specify how. So you can all wander around blindly in the dark.
I'm thinking
you'll find out next year.
I'm thinking Backstreet Boys, not One Direction. Please.
Damn it, Kyle! How did you get that? I was purposefully throwing you off the scent.
I am so good. That really makes me larger than life, you know?
Tell me how you gleaned that from my nonsense. Tell me how. Is that in Backstreet Boys? I don't know.
Tell me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I want it that way. Yeah, those Backstreet Boys. Yes, it's the better 90s boy band. Yeah,
I came on the radio the other day, and I was cracking up because I only know the Weird Al version.
Well, it's the best version. Yes. I like how the song for eBay is still relevant to eBay. It's like nothing's changed. eBay is still the same.
Gonna buy that vintage that vintage can of tube socks. As dispenser and a pair of socks. Tell me what.
Gonna buy
this used toothbrush from Dr. Dre. Found it on eBay.
Lee in the chat says, do you know how many times in this relationship Ian has told me I only know the Weird Al version? I absolutely 100% believe that.
Like, what is that Eminem song? One Chance or One Shot?
Lose Yourself, Ian.
Lose Yourself. There you go. You know, the one by the Eminem fellow.
the one about Mom Spaghetti with these week. The Mom Spaghetti song.
I hadn't even heard it like all the way through until fairly recently.
It's pretty long.
It is, and it's a solid song.
Yes.
But he gets to the part where, you know, Make Me King, and I'm thinking of the Weird Al version where he goes Larry King, and I'm dying. And Aaliyah looks like I'm insane. And it's like, no, you have to understand it's a Weird Al thing. She's, of course it is.
You're telling me Lee doesn't know the Weird Al version?
She was not familiar with it, no.
Really? Oh, man.
Or I think who Larry King was, but that's not too bad because, ew.
Well, I mean... well, Canadian thing, I think. That's probably why. Don't have him on Canadian TV.
Not really, no. I think he's more of a U.S. thing.
Yes.